This week, we're going to go over some medical terminology related to the structures of the body. This week, we're going to go over some medical terminology related to the structures of the body. So, medical terminology related to body structures, everything we're going to talk about will fall into four categories: cells, tissues, organs, and body systems. Cells will be like the building block. They're the basic unit of all living things. They're very small structures. You can't see them unless under a microscope. But under a microscope, you'll see there's a lot going on inside of a cell. They have a cell membrane, a nucleus, DNA. There's a ton of stuff in this little structure. They're very important, and they'll grow specific characteristics, specific properties. They'll have specific functions. Unique to whichever type of tissue they need to grow into. So a group of similar cells that can perform a specific function will grow into a tissue. So like a bunch of muscle cells will form muscle tissue. A bunch of nervous system cells can form nerves or neurons, and so on. So we talked about cells growing into tissues, and then specific tissues will grow and form an organ. An organ will perform a special body function. So, like an organ, like a kidney, is going to be made up of different types of tissues that can help the body, make urine, excrete waste, manage electrolytes and fluids. That's made up of specific tissues. They form an organ, like a kidney. A kidney is only part of a whole body system, which would be your urinary system. Your urinary system is made up of a group of organs. So the urinary system contains your kidneys, your ureters, your bladder, your urethra, your external genitalia. All of that stuff, those different organs form a body system. So it's like building blocks. Cells make up tissues, tissues make up organs, organs make up body systems. So let's talk about some of those specific types of tissues. Muscle tissue, you have a bunch of cells that grow into muscle tissue. Muscle tissue is unique because it typically produces movement. It's the only type of cells that can produce movement of the body. Nervous system tissue. So this is responsible for coordinating and controlling body activities, sending and receiving signals from different parts of the body to the brain, and from the brain to different parts of the body, or the central nervous system. Connective tissue connects, supports, penetrates, and encases various body structures. So some things you might think of with connective tissue, some examples: adipose tissue, fat. Bone is actually connective tissue. Blood is considered connective tissue. Fibrous tissues, things like tendons and ligaments, those are all made out of connective tissue. Epithelial tissue covers major body surfaces, so like the skin or the lining of internal organs or some of your glandular tissue. In your endocrine system, that stuff is made of epithelial tissue. All right, this is a quick overview of body systems. We definitely will get into the body systems in depth throughout this course. Each chapter kind of talks about a different body system, but this is just a little highlight of what each body system is. So the integumentary system, this is basically your skin, your nails, and then some glands like sweat glands, stuff like that. Forms a protective covering over your body, helps you regulate temperature, protects you from the elements, manufactures vitamin D. Your respiratory system, so you're breathing, right? This is your nose, your pharynx or your throat, your larynx is your voice box, your trachea is your windpipe, bronchioles are little tubes in your lungs, and then the lungs. So this allows you to perform respiration, which is breathing in oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. Your urinary system, composed of the kidneys, ureters, bladder, and urethra. It allows you to make urine, to remove waste from the body, and regulate fluid and electrolytes. Your reproductive system for females, this consists of your ovaries, your uterine tubes, your uterus, vagina, and mammary glands. For males, it's your testes, urethra, penis, prostate gland, and associated tubes. These are responsible for reproduction, along with some other functions. Cardiovascular system composed of your heart and your blood vessels, allows you to transport blood throughout your body to provide nutrients to the tissues, including oxygen, and remove waste products. Lymphatic system is composed of vessels, ducts, nodes, organs. This is an immune system, provides defense against infection, and also drainage of extracellular fluids. Digestive system, your GI tract starts at your mouth, moves down your esophagus to your stomach, your small intestine to your large intestine, your anus, plus some accessory glands like your liver, your gallbladder, your pancreas. This prepares food for use by the body and the cells, and allows for elimination of waste. Musculoskeletal system consists of your muscles, bones, joints, allows for movement and framework of the body, protects internal organs like inside your chest cavity and your cranial cavity, and allows for some storage of calcium. And also, most of your blood products are made in your bones, your musculoskeletal system. Your nervous system, this is your brain, your spinal cord, and your nerves, regulates body activities, sending and receiving signals all over the body. And your endocrine system is glands that secrete hormones. Hormones are messengers. So it's similar to your nervous system, but it's a little bit slower and a little bit more long lasting. So hormones regulate many specific functions and activities within the body. Body cavities, let's talk about your cranial cavity is the space within your skull. Your cranial cavity houses your brain, very important cavity, right? Your spinal cavity is a space within your spine, holds your spinal column, so like your vertebrae, and your spinal cord, also very important. Your thoracic cavity is the space within your chest. It contains your heart, your lungs, your airway, your esophagus, your aorta, which is a very large blood vessel. Then you have your abdominal cavity. Your abdominal cavity is everything in your belly, basically. Your stomach, your liver, your gallbladder, your kidneys, adrenal glands, small and large intestine. And then you move down to your pelvic cavity. Pelvic cavity is a little below your abdomen, contains mostly some urinary organs and reproductive organs like your urinary bladder, ovaries, some of your small and large intestine, and your anus are located in your pelvic cavity. Your abdominopelvic cavity is just kind of exactly what it sounds like. It's both your abdomen and your pelvis, everything inside there. Your ventral cavity, ventral is in the front, so it's your chest, your abdomen, and your pelvic cavity. Those make up your ventral cavity. And your dorsal cavity is from behind. You think of like a dorsal fin on a dolphin. Dorsal cavity is referring to your cranial and spinal cavity together. There's a nice little picture of these cavities we just went over. Let's go over a few of these combining forms. What's a combining form? It's a word root with a combining vowel, a slash, and a combining vowel, so typically an O. This is just some that's going to be in your chapter 2, but we can go over these ones. Adeno is referring to gland. Epithelio is referring to epithelial tissue or epithelium. Fibro is fiber. Hemato is blood. And sarco is flesh or connective tissue. These are some common combining forms you might see used with body structure terms. Crypto is referring to something hidden or secret. Leo is referring to something smooth. Necro means dead. Onco is tumor or mass. And rhabdo is striated or rod-shaped. Rhabdo. All right, so referring to body structures, you might need to describe them in color. These are some combining forms referring to different colors you may need to use or understand. Cyano is blue. Erythro is red. Leuco is white. Milano is black. Xantho is yellow. Let's go over some prefixes you may need for this chapter. Dia is through or complete. Dis is labored, painful, difficult. Hyper is above, excessive. Hypo would be below, underneath, deficient, or incomplete. And pro could mean before. So some suffixes we need. The suffix site is referring to a cell. Logi is the study of. Oma can mean tumor or swelling. Opsy is an inspection or examination. Plasia refers to growth or development. Some of these terms are confusing. The word root might be used as a suffix. So here are some examples on the screen. You'll see the word root site or the combining form cyto. This refers to cell, right? We went over this. It can also be a suffix. You'll see below where it says cyte, S-C-Y-T-E. This is still referring to the cell, but it would be like at the end of a term. But there is some confusion because the word root site is in there forming this suffix. Also, another example would be patho, the combining form for path or disease. Pathy can be at the end of a term with a different word root, meaning disease of whatever the other word root is. And the last example here is sarco. Sarco is a combining form for the word root sarc, which means like connective tissue. But the suffix sarcoma, it has that sarco in it. This actually means malignant tumor. So just kind of some things you have to memorize. But, a wrench might go into your plan when you're breaking down these word parts, trying to understand each of them. If you see any of these suffixes with word roots in them, they may have a different meaning, a slightly different meaning, or a slightly different spelling. So just pay attention to that. Body structure terms built from word parts. Here are some examples of some possibly confusing ones. We'll start at the top. Dysplasia. Dysplasia is a term made up of a prefix and a suffix. Dys is a prefix, meaning difficult, abnormal, painful, and then plasia is a suffix, meaning growth. They've used this prefix and suffix to make the term difficult or abnormal growth. It might be confusing if you're looking for the word part, but the word root, is actually embedded in the suffix plasia, means growth. Epithelial. Epithelio is a combining form referring to the tissue surrounding internal and external organs. The suffix is just the al for ease of pronunciation. So epithelial, you might be looking for a prefix or a suffix. It's a little bit harder to find, but epithelial is referring to tissue surrounding internal and external organs. Hypoplasia, again, made up of a prefix and a suffix. Hypo is under, inadequate, incomplete. Plasia is growth, so like underdevelopment, undergrowth, not fully grown. Hypoplasia. Leukocytosis. Leuko is a word root combining form meaning white. Cyto, same thing, another word root combining form meaning cell. And then osis is abnormal condition. So it's actually two word roots and the suffix leukocytosis, abnormal condition of the white cells or the white blood cells specifically is what they're talking about. Myopathy. This is a word root, which is muscle, combining form myo, referring to the muscle. Pathy, disease of. So disease of the muscle, myopathy is how you say it.